Okay, so try run TestNG practice, right? Okay, right. In TestNG, we are talking about one thing. Are you following the TestNG concepts or feeling any difficulty?
Little bit I'm feeling difficulty.
Okay, so in which concepts you are feeling difficulty then?
Yesterday class I feel some difficulty.
Okay, so did you watch it again,
Like
the recording?
before, yeah.
Okay, so okay, listen videos once again. If you still feel any difficulty, let me know, so that we'll see some alternatives how to understand clearly. Okay.
Selenium I was able to go forward like easily.
Okay.
Coming to TestNG concepts only, I am not moving forward that easily.
Okay, so understand, but the thing is, it is also important to survey in the real time. Okay, so basically, we are testing is used to monitor, or we can maintain the test cases. Okay, so how we can run the, so it will helpful very quick, not very quickly, so it will help for very rapidly in the real-time projects. So without testing G, we can't handle much in the Selenium. Okay, so that is the reason. So we need to concentrate on this TestNG concepts as well. So okay, so in last class we covered all the annotations, right? Let me give some overview on that as well. Right. Okay. So test, when we mention at the rate test, so that is the that is the basically test case. Okay, so before method, before class, before test, before suit, these are all not test cases. Okay, no, we can say these are all not test cases, and after also not test cases. So when we mention the red test, that is the only treated as a test case. Okay, so I want to execute some piece of code before executing this test case. Okay, I'm feeling like that. So those test cases, I'll keep it as a before method. Okay, so right. So before method, after method will execute before executing each test. Okay, right. So I have some two tests in the class. Okay, so okay, let me come to the point. Right. So let's make some interactive. Okay. So take this example. I have two tests, means this will treated as a one test case. This is treated as another test case because I mentioned as a test. Okay, right. So in this class, we have two tests, right? If I mention at the rate before method, at the rate before method, so public void some before. Okay, so before method. Okay, let me know the execution process. So which one is executed first and which one is executed next, and what is the execution process? Murali, are you following?
Yeah, I first if we run before method will execute first, later basic testing, and then method.
And then method one.
Yes.
No. Okay, so this is a test, right? Okay, before executing this test, before method will execute, right? Right. So before method will execute first and basic testing will execute. After that, coming to this is also a method, right? So before at the rate test, right? So before executing this at the rate test method also, before method will execute. So this will applicable so through all the tests which are present in that class. Okay. So before executing this method test, first test, before method will execute, and before executing this at the rate test method, before method will execute. Okay. So now what will be the output? Before method, basic testing, before method, method one, right? Let me run this. See, before method, method one, before method, basic testing. Okay. Okay. So we are telling like test method. So basic testing should be first, right? But here method one is first. Why? Why means, so this will treat it as an alphabetical order. Okay, test M, test L. So which one is the first? LM, right? So this is the, and this will execute first. So it will execute on the alphabetical order, so that it will treat it as a this is the first. Okay, so before executing this test, obviously before method will execute, so that before method one, and after completing this, before method basic testing. Okay, so that is the output. Clear?
Yeah, I'm now I got.
Okay, so now we'll implement after test as well. Method public void after method so after method. Okay, so now what will be the output if I run this test?
Uh, First it will give output before method, then again method one, under method one will get after method.
Okay, next.
Next, again before method it will come, then again basic testing after method.
Right. Now you are clear, right? So okay, so
Yeah.
before method test, after method completed. So now go to before class. So as I said, before class will execute at the class level. So before executing this class, okay. So before class. Then mention double quotes. Right. So this is a before class, and similarly we have after class. So do we need to mention this after class in the last? No need. So we can mention before class, after class, before method, after method, anywhere in the class. So that will not impact anything. Okay. So after class. Okay. So now what will be the output?
The output will come as like first class is first class will come, later test will come. Before class,
Okay.
after before method will come.
Okay.
Under before method, method one.
Okay.
After class, after method.
So after this method one, we have after class or after method?
After class and then after method.
No. After class will execute at end. Okay. So coming to the test level first. Okay. So this is okay. We have two test cases. Okay. In this, this test will execute first because in the alphabetical order. Okay. So before executing this, it will look at is there any before class is there. Okay. Yes, we have before class. So before class will execute once in this class. Okay. So once to this all methods. So once it will execute in this class methods or tests we have in this class, right? So it will execute first. Before class will execute first. Next, it will look for any before methods. Okay. So we have before method. Before method will always execute for each test, right? So okay, so before method will execute. After completing this test, after method will execute. Similarly, coming to the next test method. So this test method is also located in the same class, right? So before class is already executed for this class once. Okay. Before executing this, the class will not execute. So because these two tests are located in the same class. So that is the reason. So before class will execute only once, and before method will execute two times before this test, and test will execute. After that, after method will execute two times after completing each test. After that, after class will execute. Okay. Now the output will be first before class. So before class will execute. Next, before executing this method, before method will execute. So in the next second output is before method, and third output is obviously method one. And after completing after method is the fourth output. And for executing this, before method will execute. So before method is fifth, and the test is sixth, and after method is seven, and after class at last, so eighth. So this is the output. So let me run this so that you will get idea. Yeah, before class, before method, method one, after method. So this is a set. So before executing this method one means a test, before method will execute, after method will execute. Okay. Similarly, before executing this test, before method will execute, after method will. This is one set. So this is one set, right? So at end, after class will execute. Okay. So yeah. So after completing these two sets, I'm calling set means before method, method, after method, before method, method, after method. Okay. So after completing all the methods, after class will be executed, because in this class we have two methods. So before executing these two methods, before class will execute, and after completing all the methods within that class, after class will be executed. Clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So similarly, we have till now we seen class, right? So test means, so this test and suit will applicable in the TestNG XML level. Let me go to that. Okay. So test means this is the test. So what are the classes I mentioned? Okay. Within this test. So that will applicable. Okay. When I mention before test, okay, so that will be executed first, and after that the after that it will come to the class level. Okay, so class level before class will be executed. After that it will come to the method level before method will be executed. Then if I have a test method will execute. After that, after method will be executed. After completing all the methods, after class will be executed. So that is one set. Okay, so what are the classes? It will execute for each class and each method. Okay, clear. So similarly, the same set will execute for another class as well. Okay, after completing all the classes, after test will be executed. Okay, so after test will be executed, right? So once done, if we mention before suit and after suit, so before suit will be executed first. After that it will execute test. Okay, so before executing each test, before suit will be executed, and after completing all the tests, after suit will be executed. Okay, this is the basically in the structure, and the we can say priority. Yes. So this is priority. It will follows. Okay. First, suit will be executed before suit, and test will be executed before test, and class will be executed before class, and method will be executed before method. After that, if you have any test method will be executed. Okay. So this is how the priority we have. Okay. Right. So this is all about annotations. I hope clear. I still have any
No,
confusion.
yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. So right. Right. So we'll see some practical example. Okay. So okay. So I have two tests in this. Okay. So I want to
Gaurav, one small query, like earlier we did end-to-end testing, right? For a plain application.
right.
In the likewise, can't we go with TestNG?
Means not understand your question.
We automated flight application, right? End to
Right.
end.
Right.
Similarly, in TestNG also, we are using we are going to practice any application.
Yes, yes, Murli. But we need to understand the concepts, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Before going to end, we
Yeah.
need to
Yeah.
know all the concept, how to identify element, how to use the locators and all, right? So,
Yes. Yes.
so these are the basic
That is.
concepts. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I have only that question.
Okay.
Like, shall we go? We are going with
Yes,
any application.
we are understanding all these concepts individually, and we'll implement in the framework. So there we'll get
Oh,
a clear picture. Okay.
okay. Okay.
Okay. So I have a scenario like I have all 6 classes, and each class having some 2 or 3 methods, right? So around 10 plus methods I have. Okay. So in this, if you go to real-time projects, it will have hundreds of classes, and each class have 10 test cases. Around it's 1,000 of test cases we have, right? So in that, so client asked me to run some 15 test cases as a smoke. Okay. So build is deployed to test environment. Then client asked me to run 15 test cases as a smoke. What I need to do? So that is my scenario. Okay, right. So client gave me the list of 15 test cases, and he asked me to run only those test cases, right? If those those 15 test cases are in one class, I can easily, if those 15 test cases are in one class, then I'll go to that class and run as a TestNG suit, TestNG test. So then those 15 test cases will run, but that is not the situation. So we have, so in this way, we have one test case and another class have another test case. Like that, we have randomly he picked 15 test cases and given to me to run as a smoke test. How can I do that? So for that, we have a concept of grouping. Okay, so there is a concept of grouping, how to group the test cases, right? To group the test cases, so I'll go to the list, which is client given to me, and I'll identify the test and mark that as a smoke. Okay, so to mark that as a smoke, I'll use groups. So groups, smoke. Okay. So these are not in the list, let us say. This is in the list. Let me copy that. Let's see. Okay. So I'm not taking any of these two tests. Okay, I have one. I'm going to this. I'm randomly marking as a test cases. Okay, right. So okay, so I marked some test cases as a smoke, right? So how I can run these only smoke tests? So for that, I'll go to the testng.xml. Okay, so here I mentioned all the tests, right? So I'm running as a package here. Okay, so in this package, I'm running as a so I'll run as a groups. Okay, so how to run this package or these tests as a group? For that, we need to define groups. Okay, so where we define groups, here under test level I'm defining. So under test level, right, it doesn't giving me any error. Perfect. So groups, in the groups I need to mention run include name equal to smoke. Okay, so before executing this, what will happen? It's formatting, right? So I'll mention groups here. Okay, so it will look for smoke as a group name, okay, to execute the test cases. So it will filter all the group name having a smoke tests. Okay, it will go each and every method, and whatever the method having smoke as a groups. Okay, so those will be executed, right? So let me run this testng.xml. Okay, so demo 2m1, method 1, basic, TestNG, only 3. Let me see. Okay, this is method 1, right? Okay, this is also method 1. So not mark it as anything here. Demo 2m1, so this is also executed. Here also method 1. Basic TestNG, this is also executed. But method 1 should be executed multiple times, right? According to this. So let me give it a different test name. 1. 2. So this is a unique. Or is 3. Demo to M1, method 1, basic TestNG. Okay, so basically this is how we can mark it as a groups. I'm not sure why this is not repeating the tests. We'll check. Okay, there is one thing regarding the groups. So we can include the groups or we can exclude the groups as well. Okay, so if I mention exclude the groups, let me run it.
we mentioned there are in demo one, in method class, in method one we give one smoke, and in demo two we give method one again smoke. So that time it has to print 3 times, right?
Yeah, that is what I'm looking. So in demo one, we are not giving anything as a smoke, but in demo two, so we're given as this is a smoke. So this is printing, right?
Yeah, that got printed.
Okay. So, but this
And
is one
here
time
we
only
gave
it is printing. Or okay, okay, I got a clear picture. Give me a second. We'll go to the no testing it too, right? Okay. So okay, these will not executed. Why? Because I mentioned package as a test. Okay, means this test package classes will be executed. So it will not execute integration package tests. Okay, so
okay.
that is the
Now
reason.
if you give integration, there means whatever we gave in integration, it will print that one, right?
Right. So let me give that also. Integration. Integration. Spelling correct? Correct. Okay. So now let me give include. Let me run. Yes. Now we have method 1 3 times. Okay. Clear?
Yeah. Now I
Okay.
got it.
Okay. So we can similarly we can exclude the smoke as well. So if we use exclude, so whatever the mentioned smoke test, those will not run. So remaining all tests will run. Okay. So right. There may be a scenario. So I mentioned this as a smoke, right? So I'm considering this as a regression as well. For that, we can make a, sorry. So I can make 2 groups or 3 groups, any number of groups here. So that I can execute this if it is in smoke or if it is in regression. So either of that, this test login method will execute. Okay. So this is about grouping concept. So right, we have, there is a dependency concept. Okay. So let me take this demo example. Let me create a new class then. That will be good. Okay, dependency example, right? So I have 2 tests. Iterate test, public void m1. So again at the rate test public void m2, right? So synchronized and all. So I have two tests. Okay. So my scenario is I want to execute. So basically, M1 will execute first because of the order, right? So I want to execute M2 first, M1 next. Okay. How to do that? So we can change the name so that it will execute, but changing the names will not good practice, right? So for that, TestNG giving us one feature called depends on methods. Okay, so like depends on group, depends on methods. Okay, so depends on methods. I can mention the method names. So my method name is M2. Right. So what will happen? So let me first execute without this depends on. Let me see the output. So first M1, next M2, right, as expected. Now let me run this. First M2, next M1. See, so what is happening now? When we mention any depends on methods, so first that dependent method will execute first. So if a control comes here, it will check for any dependencies. There is a dependency, so that it will go to that test first. Okay, so for this test, it will execute this test. Okay, once it is done execution, then only control comes back to the previous test, and that test will be executed. Okay, so and this is about depends on methods. We can mention any number of dependencies in the comma separated. Okay, right. When so asset dot so what is this error? Okay, so asset dot asset false. So I'm making this test as a fail. So intentionally I'm making this as a fail. So let me run. So what will be the output? Just imagine. So this will fail. Okay, this test will be fail. Okay, M2 will print. After printing that M2, so I'm failing this test case. Okay, this is it for fail the test case. Fail the test case. Okay, after failing this, is that M1 is executed? Let us see.
Yeah, it will execute because both are two different test cases, right? We assign only for second test case, no? M1 will print.
We'll see. Okay, as expected, we are failing M2, right? So only M2 is printed, M1 is not printed. Why? So we are dependent on this method. Okay, means whenever the depends on method will execute it and it is passed, then only the this method will execute it. So if it is fail, then no matter that will execute. So this is under skip. If you see the output, this is under skip. Okay, skips. One test case is skips. What is the test case? This M1 is skipped. Why it is skipped? So okay, there is a scenario like if we take the Gmail application. Okay, so once login only, I'll go on to check. I'll go inside the inbox and I'll compose the text. So let us consider this as a compose mail, and this is a same login. Okay, so my compose mail test is dependent upon login, so that I'll execute login first. So what is happening while logging in? So my logging in test case is failed. Okay, means it is not logged in. So my test case is not logged into the application. So there is no point to execute the compose mail, right? So it will obviously fail because I am not logged in successfully. So in that situation, so there is no point of executing the M1. So that is the reason I'm placing as it depends on methods M2. So if it is depends on method, what we mentioned, that method is executed successfully, then only this method will execute. Clear?
Yeah.
Let me comment this. So this test case will pass. Okay. So once it is passed and executed, first executed and it will pass, then only the method which you mentioned depends on methods will execute. Okay, so that's the concept about depends on methods. Okay, we have okay. Okay, we have enabled. Okay, right. Let me take another example. Okay, so let me remove this first. Okay, in this class I have two test methods. So I'm feeling like this test case is under construction. Okay, so the developers are working on this functionality, and this is under development. Okay, so once they are fixed the issue, then only I can execute this test. Okay, so it is, we can comment all the code which is under test is one scenario, but that is also not good practice. For that we have an option called enabled. Enable equals to false. So if I mention a test case is enabled equal to false, so those will not execute at all. Okay, so that will skip, that will not execute. Let me run this. So method 1, only this login mobile is executed and method 1 is printed. So this is not at all executed. So because developer is working on it, so once he fix and push the code, then only I can remove this enabled equal to false. Then this test will execute. Okay, so yeah, this is about we've seen how to group the test cases and how to execute some test cases which are marked as a smoke test cases. Okay, and how to use depends upon methods. Okay, if we mentioned any method as a depends on methods, so if that test case is executed first and if it is success, then only the method which we mentioned as a depends on will execute. Otherwise it will not execute, it will skip that execution, right? And enabled equal to false. If I want to not execute this test case for this build or for this run, I'll make it as a enabled equal to false, so that it will not execute for this run. Okay, so once it is the problems are fixed by the developers and the functionality is good to go, then I'll remove this enabled equal to false so that it will execute. Okay, this is about a summary. We'll see. We have a few more things to need to discuss in TestNG.xml. We'll see tomorrow. Okay.
Okay, super.
Okay then. See you. Bye.